Hey Exiles, excited for Path of Exile too. Put together a little bit of silliness for anyone that is curious what I might be doing on the new game start. I was looking through the passive tree on PoE2 database. Looking at the skills that are coming out, I think clearly the best is going to be either Hammer of the Gods or Archmage. They're just very strong. Um, Hammer of the Gods probably with either Titan or perhaps Jumbling Legionnaire. Jumbling Legionnaire is very flexible. I looked at that a lot. I could see a lot of good builds with that. If I decide to play the league, the the early access series, I might do something with Jumbling Legionnaire. But the other strong ones would be like Titan or the Storm Sorcerer Archmage. Um, and the Blood Mage, just stacking life, also seems really good. But the other thing I was interested in was popcorn builds, and originally I was thinking Jumbling Legionnaire with these recurring reviving minions, having two of them with minion instability could be kind of fun on the slower paced game where that could actually make sense. That doesn't work because the minions, whenever one dies, it resets the revive timer, so you couldn't just have two going all the time. You could have one going all the time, which you could put on Skeleton Brute and then be casting zombies as well, which could be fun. But overall, I thought this. I don't know. It's not like this is strong or anything. It just sort of made me laugh. But there's this ascendancy. Thought I had this up. Warbringer has an interesting node. Grants skill Ancestral Spirits. Trigger Ancestral Spirits when you summon a totem. And if we look into that skill, it has an interesting modifier. Modifiers to totem life also affects minions from this skill. So if we look on the tree, if you take every possible node for minion life, you can get a little over 200. But on this tree, which I've made here, I have the most of the minion life nodes. Where is my minion life? So 176% increased maximum life, but I also have a huge amount of totem life, which is also going to apply to these minions. Now, what the base life of these creatures are, we have no idea. They haven't told us anything. I imagine that it's, an amount where they don't just get blown away immediately, so I imagine it's not completely insubstantial. Whether this sort of thing makes more sense for popcorn than Summon Raging Spirit, where you're getting like 8 at a time now, I have no idea. Whether it's better than just doing Skeleton Brute, I also have no idea. But I thought it was interesting because you get the skill every time you summon a totem, you get this free minion, and then you can equip that because you can equip class gems now. So I equipped it with just a normal popcorn layout. I've used Bind Spectre as a placeholder because they don't have Ancestral Spirits. Feeding Frenzy doesn't do what this says. According to PoE database, it makes them deal more damage and take more damage. About, I think it was 20 and 30%. Meat Shield also doesn't do what this says. PoE database says it increases their life by 50%, 50% more life, and decreases the damage they do. Just increasing level usually increases life. Infernal Legion to make them die, and also burn things around them, and then Minion Instability to make them explode. And this says 7%, PoE database says 15%. So then the totem I was going to use is also not in this thing. I have it here. The Roopwire Ballista, it's an attack totem. It has hits or pinning, which if they keep hitting things long enough, which I don't know that mine would do enough damage, it immobilizes a creature for 4 seconds. But one thing it does all the time is it maims them on hit, which gives them 30% slower mover speed. So that's the totem that I'm going to use, and then the totem that it's setup I have is to increase the limit by 1. On the tree I have 2 more, so I can do 4 totems. And then just Culling Strike and supports that make sense, because I'm not really trying to do damage with it. I'm just using it to summon my minions. The other thing that the Warbringer has going on for him is some interesting block stuff. So block in Path of Exile 2 is a little bit harder to get than in Path of Exile 1, and it works a little bit differently. You hit a base chance. It works more like how crit used to work in Path of Exile 1. You have a base chance, and then you scale that base chance. So average shield is about 25% base, but this will change your shield's base from 25 to 40. It's about an 80, well, it's exactly an 80% increase in base, and then this allows you to block everything, which I believe means like spells and maybe also area of effect. I'm not entirely sure about the latter, but it reduces your block chance. So what I put together was just a tree where we have a huge amount of increased block chance. Grab the totem life, grabbed like the little +1 to summon totems, and the minion damage and life nodes. It's absolutely silly. I have no particular reason to think it will be good, but if you wanted to know the sort of ridiculousness I was going to be trying just for fun when the league launches in a few hours, that's what it's going to be, most likely. Either that or my finger will click Gemling Legionnaire and I'll do something with attribute stacking and Archmage, which also looks reasonably strong. But anyway, I go out. I hope you have a great new game if you get a chance to play.